Hello everyone, welcome to another webinar through ourbeautifulearth.com. So today we are learning about soil erosion and conservation. We've already had our discussion and now this is the presentation. The discussion will not be recorded due to people's privacy issues. So many of you probably know what is soil erosion and conservation. So soil erosion is when the soil erodes, which is obvious, but why is this a problem? How can we do to help this problem? Does this impact the growth of foods and other such materials? So these are the kinds of things we'll be learning in today's presentation. So soil is a fragile resource. Most soil erosion is caused by natural processes such as water flowing downhill and by the wind. Soil erosion is natural, but humans can impact the rate at which it happens. And we all know soil erosion is bad because it makes crops infertile to be there. It makes life in general harder to grow. So as you can see, there's great soil erosion in these pictures because there's barren lands. See in the left one, there's a whole trench. Same with the ones in the right. And here it's like its own little path. So natural processes of soil erosion include water flowing downhill and wind. Human activities that can impact soil erosion include overcropping, overgrazing, and deforestation. For soil erosion, overcropping and overgrazing are the most common ways that we contribute to soil erosion. This is because farmers need to survive and they need to grow crops so that we can also survive. But sometimes when you use the soil too much, this leads to overcropping and overgrazing. Or overgrazing is when you graze the animals too much on a special segment of land. And this can make the soil infertile and can even impact the environment in many ways, which we will come to. Problems caused by soil erosion include the loss of valuable topsoil. Topsoil is the first layer of soil. Burying valuable topsoil, which is the one right below it, damage to fields, plant productivity decline, and desertification. Desertification is a big issue because this means when desertification happens, almost no species or plants can live or grow there except the ones that are acclimated to desert-like conditions. So let's look at the Sahel in Africa. So the Sahel stretches for 5,400 kilometers across Africa from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Red Sea in the east. It includes countries such as Mali, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. And many of you know this area is in the Sahara Deserts area, but did you realize that it is a desert? There are very few species can live here. Just think, why do you think it might have happened? Do you think it was because of humans, nature, or a combination of both? Just something to keep in mind of. So as we said, soil erosion is caused by overgrazing, overcropping, and deforestation. This is the leading to desertification in the Sahel region of Africa. As you can see here, there's nothing growing except a few bushes and shrubs here. For animal species, it's only scorpions, adapted snakes, and other adapted mammals, like camels and stuff. It also leads to increased drought in the Sahel region as a result of the climate change, and this is also causing soil erosion and desertification. So here's a video clip that I won't go over, but I'll post, but it is of what it's like to live in the desert. And it shows that even though we have created these problems partially, it is impacting us in return. As you can see here, here are some kids here. Just think about it. Look at the ribs. Do they look well nourished? Are there enough nutritions in the desert? Just some more questions to think about. Overgrazing. When a farmer allows too many animals to graze an area of land. This damages the soil structure and removes plant cover, allowing the soil to blow away. So if the soil blows away, wouldn't you think, oh, this is bad for farmers because then they can't grow stuff? Well, many farmers use this method called settle and leave, which is that they have a certain area of soil, they settle there, graze it until They can get maximum growth from it. Then when it's no good, they move on from that piece of land and go to another land. And then this just creates more soil issues for a larger span of land. Overcropping. When land is continuously farmed, the nutrients are drained from the soil, which destroys soil structure and makes it less fertile. Overcropping is used when you've tried to grow too much from it. So remember, overgrazing is when you try to graze or like use too much grazing over the piece of land. And overcropping, like the name, is when you try to grow too many crops or like uh, try to grow as much as you can in the soil. This is a problematic because although there's a right amount to crop in a certain area of land, you don't want to overdo it. Otherwise, that soil may never become fertile again. As you can see here, here's a picture of a woman in Africa growing corn and other species from crops. And here's another one that if you drive down an interstate, you might pass some farms. And this is exactly what it'll look like. Deforestation. Large areas of forests are cut down, leaving bare landscape. Tree and plant roots prevent soil erosion. When they are removed, the soil dries out due to constant exposure to the sun and is easily blown or washed away. So deforestation happens for a number of reasons. If you need a refresher on deforestation, please go to my website, ourbeautifulearth.org, go to the Why Help the Environment tab, and then click on the deforestation button, which will take you to a recording of the deforestation presentation, not the discussion. But deforestation is really contributing to soil erosion because trees hold the soil in place. Deforestation is also the reason why so many earthquakes occur, because they help keep it steady and strong. But we don't know about all of this because a lot of these problems we have never seen with our own eyes. Climate change. Global warming has caused a rise in the temperature of the atmosphere in the Sahel region. As a result, the air can hold more water vapor and rain is less likely to occur. Here's a quote from an Ethiopian farmer. The rain doesn't come on time anymore. After we plant, the rain stops just as our crops start to grow. It begins to rain after the crops have already been ruined. So it just shows that the timing is off. Farmers have been adapted to a certain cropping and grazing strategy, but these patterns can change as we force the environment to change. So as you see, again, this is how it's negatively affecting us. Methods of conservation, windbreaks and shelter belts. You might be wondering what these two are, but we're going to go into more depth of this. Barriers formed by trees and plants with many leaves. Remember how important it is to have plants and stuff because it keeps the soil steady. Contour and strip plowing. These are other methods of conservation to prevent soil erosion. The tractor operator follows the contours of the hillside. The furrows thrown up by the plow going in different directions stop the flow of water and encourage percolation of the soil. Don't know what percolation is? Look it up. You'll get a quick term. It's how water penetrates through the soil. And here's an image of a ridge and a furrow. We're not going to discuss this because we don't want to make this into too much of a science class. Another method of conservation is stubble planting. The old stubble of harvested crops is not plowed back into the soil as usually it is done. Instead, the stubble is left in place in order to reduce wind and water erosion while the new crop is growing. So as you can see, here are images of some stubbles in the right. And this one's a more commercialized farm on the top, and then on the bottom, we can see the stubble leftovers. Terraces, large steps cut into a hillside. This reduces slope length and steepness to limit the energy of running water and its ability to carry soil away. So this makes the land use much more efficient. And terraces are also pretty. You'll see them used in a lot of areas. Stone walls and bunds, low walls placed along the contour of the hill. These walls capture water, allowing it to filter into the soil rather than run off downhill. And another one, reduce plowing in dry, windy weather. Plowing in dry and windy weather increases the risk of wind erosion. So a lot of you probably don't know this because a lot of you aren't farmers, but there are certain times when certain things should be planted or plowed. You can look more into it if you want to be a farmer one day, or if you're just curious to learn more. And that's it. This was taken from a presentation made by Aisling O'Connor. We need to thank her for that because it is a great resource to help you learn how you can help and not just learn. So yeah, that's really it for today. And I hope you guys learned a lot. But I know that today our presentation wasn't as big, as long, but that's because it was a less common topic. So that even though there is stuff we can do about it, simultaneously there's not stuff we can do about it. Like with the tractors and the plowing, the terraces, we can't do all of this because we don't live on farms and we aren't controlling cropping and grazing. But this is just good information to know, especially if you have any farmer friends. Tell them especially to please watch this because maybe many of these strategies they might not even know. So yeah, thank you, and that's all for today. Sorry if you guys missed out on the discussion if you're watching the recording. And yeah, we're going to end this meeting. So see ya. And any questions, email me at sheelpatelnc@gmail.com. And yeah, please visit my website because there's constant updates going on for how you can help. If you want to learn anything, any resources, want anything new posted there, please directly email me. Want to schedule some time to talk with me, do that too. Okay, so that's all for today. And yeah,